start to put tension on my string drawback, I was like, okay, I'm gonna smoke.
It's him. You can look at the horns when he's dead. I'm in the zone. Let the arrow go. Just perfect.
When they lose their front shoulders, that's how you know they're smoking.
Went about 5-10 more yards. He probably went 20 yards total. Stepped over, tried getting back up. And I saw him pull up.
We rushed 40 years rods that night. We got like 156 and something like that. And then the next day we came out to 163 even.
You're listening to the White Cat Outdoors podcast, bringing you to the table where we talk about the outdoors.
Yo. What's going on, guys? Episode 83 coming at you from the White Cat Outdoors podcast studio. Nick and Tom are both here tonight.
Yo.
What the hell was that?
Just copying Frank. Were you not? Oh, you were on your phone. That's right. You didn't catch that.
Huh.
Because you were on your phone.
My bad. I was sending a tweet.
It's interesting. Nick wasn't here last week.
Yeah,
as
it's
everybody
actually
knows.
not true.
You did not say a single word, so
Well, yeah, I guess I didn't, but I was there
it's a minus
spirit.
on the attendance.
in your heart.
Yeah. Before we get going, let's talk about a couple of things. First thing,
Big news.
yeah,
And a big shout out.
That's the
that's
big news.
the big news. Big news and big shout out are one and the same. Jason Johnson.
I think Johnson, isn't it?
Johnson, is that how you? I'll let you. You know him better.
I don't know him really. He's just a new follower. Decided he wanted to get his shot at the $500 mobile setup giveaway. It's Jason Johnson, actually.
We
It
do
is-
know him very well. Great
yeah,
guy.
Jason's a good dude. Decided he wants to support.
Hell of a softball player.
Yeah,
he
top
is.
notch. But for whatever reason, Jason decided he wanted to support what we're doing, and we can't thank him enough for that. He likes to rock the White Cat hat and also the Burrell Enterprises shirt once a week. So
Hell of a guy. So he got in on the Patreon.
Let's give it
and
up for Jason, everybody.
great job. We
I'm
really
sure that's going
appreciate
to
it.
sound like hell.
Yeah, it'll be great.
So apologize for your ears there.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Jason. If you haven't gone in on the Patreon, you better do it quick. We're trying to do this before archery season hits. So
Only a few spots left.
yep, sign up,
Get after
and just join in the fun. And who knows, maybe you'll win a tree stand.
Maybe. One more thing before we get going. Parties next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So anyone.
So a week from when you're listening to, if you listen to this when it drops on Sunday, a week from then, we'll be hungover eating breakfast after the Palooza.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. So Saturday, the 31st, make sure you guys come out to the party, have a great time.
Yeah, if you don't know where the party's at, hit us up
on Exchangegram.
Yeah. All are welcome. You just got to hit us up and we'll get you the deets. There's going to be a cornhole tournament on Saturday, cash prizes. So bring your cornhole throwing arm and tons of beer, tons of smoked food from some of the best smokers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a great, good old time. I mean, campfire going. Another big shout out, our buddy Ben from the Navy will be home and in town for the Palooza.
Nice.
So that's awesome.
Big news. Big news.
Big time. So come on out, have some fun, get a hold of us, and we'll get you the deets.
Heck yeah. So I think that's all we have to talk about before we start talking about
I
it.
think you're right.
Well, then what do you say we start talking about it?
Yeah. So what are we talking about today, Tom?
Summer scouting. And it's a good time to talk about summer scouting because
It's
now,
summertime.
well, yeah, it is summertime. It's late enough in the summer where you can look at a buck and say, okay, that's a buck I'm going to want to hunt come deer season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these guys, they're posting trail cam pictures in beginning of May, and it's got 2 nubs on top of its head, and it looks
Target
like every
buck
other buck.
right there.
Gonna be a shooter. I'm like, well, yeah, we'll see. Can't really tell. But now they're starting to look, as they say, cagey.
Mm-hmm.
And you know a shooter buck now when you see it. So it's about time where you get them picked out. You know, try and get a good pattern on them for the early archery season. You know, first couple of weeks before their pattern switches up.
Speaking of identifying deer now, I just want to I just got word. So one of the properties Tom and I hunt last year had a very odd buck. Its rack grew almost straight up. I mean, I bet you it's maybe 10 inches wide.
Nice.
Tom had his heart set on that buck last year, and
Not
obviously,
very cagey.
yeah, not very
Almost
cagey,
no.
but he's just very interesting because
Yeah.
like you just don't see deer like this before. It reminds me of obviously much smaller, but Stan Potts like 200-inch deer he killed that was like straight up. It
That
had,
was like 15 inches wide.
yeah, I know, but this is like way shorter. It just reminds me of
Yeah.
it. I like to think about Stan Potts when I think about deer because he's a big deer killer. Anyways, we have confirmation that deer is back and he's bigger and better than last year.
Still narrow.
Oh, very, very narrow, but he's a 10 with double split brows.
That's sweet.
Yeah, but
Is
every
he like 12 wide now?
no, I think he's still about 10. It like
Really?
goes straight up, like the rack literally goes straight up. The brows are split, like growing straight up from there, and then the tines on the top grow like almost back.
That's
It's
awesome.
a crazy looking deer. So
That's sweet. I hope you get him.
yeah, he's back, and I tell you what, he's frequenting the property pretty heavily.
Just begging for an arrow.
Yeah, so that's part of our summer scouting we're going to get into is cameras.
Which we briefly touched upon last week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks
A
ago.
couple weeks
It was-
ago. Yeah, we talked
It was like a
Right.
whole,
whole podcast.
yeah, it wasn't like a briefly touched.
We will briefly touch on it today.
yeah.
We'll circle back.
Yeah,
we'll
so,
get there.
As Tom was saying, now is the time where you can start to identify deer. I mean, unless you have like markings on
Yeah.
like a deer's body, like now's the time where you can start recognizing deer from the year before, and if they're going to be in your class of what you want to shoot, because everybody's is different.
Yeah.
So I know,
Like us here at White Cat, we're booner or nothing. So
yeah, sure, Tom. I like to shoot whatever gets my heart pounding, and that changes day to day. That's kind of how I go. Mm-hmm. Shoot what gets me excited, and what gets me excited changes depending on where I'm hunting, what day I'm hunting, how long I've been hunting like days in a row. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I've been known to pass decent deer and shoot smaller deer later in the year. It just depends on how I'm feeling.
story of my life.
But anyway, so I wanted to start with what we're actually going to be doing tonight. Frank had the beautiful idea that we're going to do some summer scouting tonight, which is funny that he said that because it was before I even told him we were going to talk summer scouting tonight.
Yeah.
So I will turn it back over to Frank to our first tip for scouting deer in the summertime.
Yeah, one of like my favorite things to do other than putting cameras out, because cameras you can cover all the time. So I like to go around to the places that I hunt, especially like if there's a field, I'll just go there right before sunset and just chill out. And the field that we are going to tonight is a big bean field, and it's back off the road. You can't see it from the road. There's tree lines and stuff. It's kind of hidden, so the deer feel super safe in it. It's got some rolling hills, so it's just a phenomenal spot to bring deer out in the evening.
James
Especially,
Laird's been asking about lats and longs. If you could drop those real
yeah,
quick.
we'll leave it in the comments.
I told him check your email.
Yeah. So I just like to go there periodically, and it's a property that I hunt a lot and have a lot of cameras out, so we get a pretty good feel for what's in the area from the cameras. But it's nice to just go put your eyes on them.
Seeing where they're entering the field from.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
And relating it to like obviously what time, but like bigger picture. Check out what like the wind's doing.
Yeah.
Because like I know deer will enter a field differently depending on the wind. Easily.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
So figuring out where a deer enters the field from day to day means so much, especially in archery when it's a game of 10 yards over can be the difference of killing it or not.
Yeah.
So marking that kind of stuff is extremely important for this time of year and puts you just one step closer to
And
sealing
like
the deal.
right now, it's still pretty early, so I won't go that often. I'll just go check. Once a week, I'll go over there and look around. But when it gets closer to the season, I'll start going over there 3-4 times a week, depending on the weather. I might go every week or every day. It depends, but I like to go over there and see before the season what are these deer doing, if there's any that I want coming.
Yeah, and
to
this
the field.
is a very non-intrusive way to scout as well. You're not putting your scent all over the woods and letting the deer know that, hey, it's almost deer season. So
yeah, I just
better go
walk up to
nocturnal.
the corner of the field. I don't get within 400 yards of any deer, so they're totally clueless. Even if they do see it, it's like they pick their head up and they're like, yeah, he's way the hell over there. I'm not worried about it.
Which is a good indicator that it's a low-pressure area.
Yeah.
We've got some spots by Tom and I that if you slow your vehicle down on a bean field.
They're gone.
The buck it's usually the bucks. The does don't, for whatever reason. Does don't. But you can tell if it's a buck because if you hit those brakes, that deer
Head
is
goes
gone.
down and the deer's gone.
Yeah. So that's just a good indication that
Yeah, it's a low pressure area.
yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite things to go do because nothing's better than actually seeing the deer. You know,
Yeah.
when you see it on camera and stuff, and it gets you excited. But when you go out and see, okay, right there's my stand, right there's the deer, you can really start to put the picture together and get everything going and put a plan in place on how
Yeah, or
you're
even like, okay, that's where he's coming out. That's where I need my stand to be
Yeah.
when I come in.
yeah, for sure.
Second thing I like to do, especially right around now and up until, I don't like to do this much later than like August, just because it does start to get intrusive, and it's finding those early season food sources
Yeah.
on your property. Like there's a lot of, even though we put a lot of food plots in, there's still other food sources.
Yeah,
on
natural
your,
food sources.
Yeah, whether it's acorns dropping or crabapple trees or any sort of greenbrier or like anything that like the deer are going to be eating on your property. Going in and investigating those areas, making sure that acorns are in fact dropping this year because they don't every year. Apples have good years and bad years. We're kind of on a bad year, at least in our area.
Yeah.
So going and seeing exactly what the situation is, because if you typically go early season and sit on an apple tree that's secluded back in the timber, it's probably a hell of a spot early season. We've got a couple stands that are similar to that.
Yeah, I have
But
a
if
couple of my favorite spots are those secluded apple orchards way back in the woods.
Yeah, and if you wait until October 1st to hike all the way back there and there's no apples, that's a wasted hunt. It's putting unnecessary scent in the woods that you shouldn't have even had to go to that area. So thanks, Tom. But anyway, so it's just a really, I think, a smart thing to do is get out there and see what sort of food sources are coming in this year.
Yeah.
And doing it, in July or August gives it plenty of time to where you're not going to screw anything up. Obviously, be smart about it, but it's not going to screw anything up to be out of there a month before season.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you open in September, knock it back. We're talking Pennsylvania and New York here.
Yeah, and like you said, a month before the season, it's not like every apple that hits the ground is going to be gone. There's still going to be apples in the trees that are going to continue to drop up into the beginning of archery season. So those food sources aren't going to disappear super early in archery season.
No, and if acorns are dropping, acorns are going
That's
to
all
drop.
winter long.
Yeah,
They
so
chew on
but
those
it doesn't
all the time.
happen every year, so it's just something you got to go out there and check and make sure that they're producing that year.
Yeah, and you got to make your plan on how you're going to hunt around those things, because if there's no acorns in this area, you're even not just like right on that spot, the deer might not use it quite the same way, or a stand that was good right here, you might have
old
to
trails
move,
and stuff
move over
too.
50 yards to be where they're going to use it now because the food source changed. There's no reason for them to walk over this way when they want to go that way.
Yeah, the only reason they were going over there was food sources earlier. Tom, you look like you got to say something.
Yeah, a couple years ago up at our camp, we had a hell of an oak nut crop. And that particular year, it was almost pointless to hunt food plots or field edges. The deer were not coming out into the food plot or into a field until well after dark. And I think a lot of that had to do with the amount of acorns that were produced that year. The deer felt safe and, secluded back in the woods. They could get a bite to eat and not have to come out into the field during daylight hours.
You got to think, most of those buck beds were like where those bucks are bedding on that property all had oak trees all around them. They didn't even have to move 25 yards to get a meal. Like, why the heck would they risk going all the way up to the food plots?
Exactly.
Like Tom said, it was literally pointless. None of us were sitting food plots. We put all that time in, and the oak crop was so good that it didn't matter.
Didn't matter, yeah.
So
I mean, it's not like the deer were avoiding the fields because, we'd still get trail cam pics, but it was after dark.
yeah, and does and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you weren't going to see a shooter buck roaming the field right before dark like we were in years prior.
Yeah, because those bigger bucks want to hang back a little bit later anyway, but if they have something to eat while they're hanging back, they're going to
It's
hang back even longer.
Yeah.
They got no reason to walk out there until they feel 100% safe.
Yeah. for sure. And then the last thing, like we did talk about, I guess it's not really the last thing. There's tons of different things you can do, but I wanted to hit on trail cameras again, even though we talked a little bit. But I wanted to mention I put out a mineral site in Pennsylvania, of course, because illegal in New York. I put a camera on a little mineral site. Just when I do my mineral sites, I like to do them very close to natural deer trails anyway, just because I don't want to create an unnatural pattern for.
Yeah, you want to let them do their thing.
Yeah, because even when the mineral site's gone, during season, I still want it to be a trail that's being that they're running anyway.
Yeah.
But I had a specific buck I put it out, and then for 2 hours straight, that same buck was there on that mineral site. Like, I had my camera set for 2 pictures every 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. And for 2 hours straight, the same buck was in front of my camera, just going to town on this mineral
We
site.
switched that one to video, didn't we?
Yeah, because I'm curious.
Your
Because he was there
battery's gonna be dead.
Yeah, probably. He was there like every day, and the one there's other chunks where he was there a long time, but the one I was like, oh my god, how long has this deer been here? And I went and mapped it out, and it was over 2 hours.
That's crazy.
So mineral sites are a really, really effective way to see what you've got on your property.
And we didn't get a single coon on that camera.
that's a big
on
thing.
our corn feeder, we had 8 coons in one picture.
I forgot about that. That's a pro tip because
Yeah, if you're
Coons
tired of scrolling through pictures of raccoons,
set up a mineral site.
yeah.
I think they're just as effective at
I do too.
finding, and personally, I think they're better for your deer than a bag of corn. They've got way more nutrients that are vital to their antler growth, and even just the does need it too. But corn is like a stomach filler. There's not a ton for the deer to benefit from. It's kind of like eating McDonald's. Tastes good, doesn't really do much for you. Where the mineral sites are, your 1-a-day vitamins and everything else you really need throughout the day.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I want to give a big shout out and a screw you to one shout out and one screw you.
I thought they were the same
No,
thing.
no,
I was
not
like,
the same
what
thing.
did this
No.
guy do?
No, first off, I want to give a shout out to Tractor Supply. So Tractor Supply, you probably got a Tractor Supply in your area. Great deals on trail cameras. Absolutely perfect. Like you can get 2 for $99. You can get, 1 for $100, depending on they've got price ranges for anybody that you want to get a cell cam, spend $300. They got it. You want, a $100 camera, it still takes 18 megapixel pictures. They got that. You're just looking to get a few pictures out of there. You don't really want to spend a ton of money. 2 cameras, $99 out the door. That's $45 a camera in case you can't do math.
That's good stuff.
They sell all your minerals dirt cheap. You can get
$44.50.
what?
2 cameras for $99. $44.50.
Deer cane, a gallon of deer cane, which is just a mineral supplement. It's like $6 or $7 for a gallon. Yeah, very cheap,
Can't go
very affordable. Lucky Buck is like $12 for that huge tub, and that lasts at least a month.
Yeah.
And then the Screw You comes into the newly owned Sportsman's Warehouse by Bass Pro Shops.
Oh man.
So I just, I want to go in there. First, there's a few things that I'm going to get a Screw You from me. I'm sure they're really listening diligently.
Yeah.
First off,
I wasn't even close. Neither were you.
it's like $50, didn't I say? 2 for $99. It's like
You
50.
said 45 a piece.
Did I? And I said in case.
$49.50. $49.50.
Apparently, we can't do math either. Moving on. I had a discount. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so Tom and I used to buy a couple lock-on tree stands every year.
This is bullshit. This pissed me right off.
Yeah, so this is, again, screw you to Sportsman's Warehouse. We go in there. Tom and I used to be able to get cameras on, tree stands.
What are you saying?
Tree stands. I'm just getting heated.
Yeah, you
And
are.
trail cameras.
Yeah, but I'm going to start with tree stands. Tom and I used to be able to go in there any day, and you could get a lock on, a cheap lock on, for under $40. And then on sale, you could get them for under $30.
Yeah, that's
No more. The cheapest lock-on stand they had in there was $219.
Jesus.
Yeah, screw you.
Might as well buy a lone wolf at that
Yeah,
point.
that's what it was. That was their cheapest lock-on they had. Ridiculous.
That is
So that
ridiculous.
irritated me because where is the the blue collar guy, where is he
Yeah,
supposed to
where
get?
are the gorilla stands?
Yeah.
at?
It seems like it's getting so commercialized.
That's
Yeah,
a
well,
fact.
Here we go.
Everyone
So
wants a freaking recliner
yeah,
up
so
in their tree stand.
yeah, we'll circle back. So I go over to the trail camera section. They didn't have a single camera under $200, and they weren't all cell cameras. Like some of them were the same cameras I can get over at Tractor Supply, just the Brownings, which I love. I'm a very big fan of these Brownings so far. And they wanted like $60, $70 more.
For the same thing.
Yeah. Just absolutely pathetic. Like, I miss Gander Mountain is what I kept telling myself.
Yeah. Well, Sportsman's Warehouse used to be a.
Sportsman's Warehouse used to be, or
Yeah.
it wasn't Sportsman's Warehouse. It was Field and Stream.
No, I'm saying like a long time ago,
yes.
Sportsman's Warehouse.
Used
we
to be
didn't have
great.
one here.
Yeah, but when it got bought out by Bass Pro, it went
Total
down the-
dog water.
Yeah, you try and get a set of camo in there. Oh, we only sell Sitka and Kuyu here.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to
Tom
spend
said, it's
$1,200.
all the commercialized stuff.
Yeah, but like seriously, like exactly. Where's the River's Edge? Where's the Gorilla stands?
Tractor Supply.
Yeah, well, Tractor Supply doesn't sell tree stands, but they're missing their mark.
yeah.
I should just tell them they need to start selling tree stands because we need them. And then that's what's irritating is like, yeah, I try and support the box stores, or not the box stores, but like the brick and mortar in my community.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense when I have to spend $200 on a trail or a tree stand.
Yeah.
You know, when I
Go
use
on Amazon and
yeah,
buy
but
what
I
you really want.
yeah, but and like Tom said, everybody wants these big, huge recliners up in your tree stand. I need a tiny little platform, a tiny little seat, just in case my legs get tired. You know, Tom and I used to buy it was a Field and Stream brand. It was like the bottom of the barrel. The seat was, you know, like big enough for like one butt cheek, and you know the metal grate, and it was perfect. It's all you need for hunting. I always said if you're going out there to be super comfortable, you might as well just stay on the couch and turn on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like if you're out there to hunt, you're out there to hunt. I get you don't want to have like a spike going up your butt, but you don't need the lazy boy to hunt.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
sorry about that. That was a heated rant.
You
I was
were-
just
could tell
I
you
was so
your
fired
veins
up.
were popping out of
Yeah.
your forehead.
Smoke came
Yeah,
out of his
Tom
ears.
was with me. I was so irritated because you can't just get like your blue collar everyday guy deals at my local outdoor store anymore. But spoiler alert, I have a Tractor Supply on the way out to the farm. So
Perfect.
they've been getting all my business because I was so upset. Like I don't know, I can't justify spending that much on a trail camera. Like
So
I mean,
that's,
even-
that's some scouting in a different sense.
yeah,
You're scouting
that is
for
my summer
stores.
scouting. Even like I put the wood hoods on all my cameras now too, and I still like even with it being protected, I still don't like spending $200 on a camera.
Yeah.
Which if you're not running trail like the wood hoods on your cameras, you should be. It's
Yeah. Turks and Tines makes good product.
yeah. I actually saw that somebody on a random Facebook group I was in was talking about them.
Oh,
that like
yeah?
was unrelated to Scott, and I went to tag Scott in it, but he's not a member of that group, and it's like a closed group. So they're getting out there.
That's good.
But I mean, Scott's got cameras. He's been running over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to anybody else that's got a camera that's 10 years old that's still working.
Yeah. Very,
Nobody.
very few.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I think we wrap
I
it up.
think
nice.
we skipped over one really big summer scouting.
Well, that's
don't you
that's
bring
all
it up?
I have.
don't
I
you
knew
bring
that
it up?
Tom still had something to bring up.
This is what I like to call, and my old boss used to like to call, boots on the ground. And I know, like,
Isn't that checking your food sources? It's a
and
variation.
going and walking the fields.
yeah, but you're also looking, bedding areas. If it's a new property where
Okay,
you're not
so you're talking
familiar with,
new property.
Okay.
yeah. One of the keys to hunting is knowing your bedding area. So
And walking all through it all the time.
yeah, as much as you can. Get the deer really used to you being in their bedding area.
That's a pro tip that people don't like to talk about. You make your presence known in a bedding area early on, so come hunting season, it's just a normal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend doing that.
They know we're jokesters.
Yeah. Finding your bedding areas, finding your, heavy traffic deer trails coming out of bedding, going to food sources, old scrape lines, old rub lines. I like to find all of these things, prior to deer season, like a month or so before. That way, come the rut, I'm not now doing my scouting, trying to figure out where these rub lines are, where these
Or-
scrape lines are.
You find all that stuff beforehand so you can set up a stand. That way you don't see this happening during the season and go, oh, I need to put a stand up. And then you're there in the middle of the week or on a Sunday
Yeah.
putting up a tree stand, cutting lanes and stuff and disturbing the area. And sometimes it doesn't hurt, but
Yeah, or you throw your mobile stand on your back and get in there. But
Yeah.
you hate the problem to see a deer do the same thing twice in a row is very rare. So you need to be there.
before
You need to be a step ahead of them, and that's the whole idea of summer scouting. Even if it is with a mobile setup, regardless, the whole name of the game is being one step ahead of what they're going to do, and locating those bedding areas, those scrape lines, the rub lines, like Tom's saying, is key to being a step ahead.
If you find an old scrape line, from last rut, there's a really good chance it's going to open up again this rut. So finding that, over the summer and being prepared is a lot better than walking around through the woods and then going, oh, this rut or scrape line's open. I should hunt it.
After you've already walked all over, put your scent everywhere.
Yeah. If you go, okay, I know there's an old scrape line here, November 1st or, whenever you start seeing rut activity, I'm going to get
Sit
my
over that
mobile
scrape,
set up or I'm going to hang a stand now and not hunt it until the rut kicks in. I think it's a good idea to try and get a layout of the property.
do all of your disturbing in June and July.
Yeah, so you can be more calculated when you go to set up your stand, because time in the woods kills deer, but it's got to be educated time, or I guess purposeful time in the woods. You're not going to kill deer by walking all over your property every day looking for sign in October. You need to be doing that now, so you don't have to in October. So time in the woods kills deer doesn't necessarily mean time in the woods between October and December.
Yeah.
It's time in the woods from March all the way up until the time you start hunting. The time that you're putting in now scouting those areas is all
It's just as
working.
important as sitting in the stand.
Exactly. So that's a good point, Tommy.
You're the man, Tom. I've always said that.
I try.
Yeah. Any other things you're hiding from us that you want to talk about, Tom?
No, I mean, I could go on and on, but
Nothing else?
I mean, you can talk about the difference between a buck trail and a doe trail, buck beds, doe beds.
Bring it up.
So typically, this is coming out into a field.
This is like the advanced segment of the podcast.
Yeah. So if you're, hunting a field, you want to hang a stand to shoot a big buck on a field edge. What's that one app?
Staging area? No.
Yes.
I was thinking you were asking a different question.
No, that one app that
Weather Underground?
tells
Onyx?
you
Deercast?
Nick, why
something
don't you
about it might be Deercast. It tells you. I've never put a whole lot of faith into it, but
Moon
some
Guide?
people might. Yes, the Moon Guide. It'll
Yeah.
tell you, when you want to hunt a field edge, when you want to hunt bedding areas, when you want to hunt staging area. Anyway, I don't really know where I was going with that, but if you're into that sort of thing, check it out.
Wow, it was sounding really good. The app Tom's talking about is the Moon Guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting back into before the app, if you want to set up a stand on a field edge and you see a heavy, heavy trail, coming out into that field edge, most of those heavy, heavy trails are doe trails. And you can look at them and you can look at all the tracks in them and, see that it's usually like a mom and two little ones coming out day after day after day after day, a bunch of groups. The buck trail, that's the one you're going to want to hang your stand on, is going to be about 30 or 40 yards down from that doe trail. And a lot of times what it's going to be is on the predominant downwind side of that trail. And that buck, it'll just be, one or two mature bucks using that trail. So it'll be
Easy to miss.
yeah, very easy to miss. It's not going to look like a deer highway. There's only going to be a couple different sets of tracks, but they're going to be big buck tracks. And the reason they do that is they're typically, like I said, downwind of those main highways. And what they do is they will scent check that deer trail, the main deer trail, on the way out, and see who's out in the field before
if it's
they
Sally
actually
or Emily or who's
Yeah.
out there.
before they actually even go out into the field. So if you want to shoot, a big buck, or if you want to shoot a doe, then I'd set up, if you want to shoot a doe, on the doe trail, but I'd look on the predominant downwind side for a less obvious trail with fewer but larger tracks.
Yeah, because typically those larger bucks, you're not going to see them in the field during daylight or like shooting light unless it's like the rut. So like what Tom's saying is basically the deer are on their feet in daylight. You're just cutting them off. So you're getting to where they're at before they get to the field, so you can still kill them in daylight. But locating that trail is a little bit harder because
A lot of people, they just see a huge deer trail and they're like,
Yeah.
oh my,
That's the
every
spot.
deer in
That's
the
a
woods
highway,
is
yeah, they have to
using
go.
this trail.
But if you sit
Yeah,
on that field, watch, you'll see, 3 does, a couple fawns, like they're all using that trail. I don't know if you ever noticed, like, I know you guys have noticed it, but I'm just saying in general to people listening, when you're sitting on a field edge, watch where the doe come out and watch where the buck come out. They never come out on the same trails. So you don't want to be hunting the same trails if you're trying to get a buck versus a doe. So yeah, keep that in mind.
That's a big one I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And thanks for the moon guide talk. That was really good, and I'm sure
Well,
everybody got a lot out of that.
I remember last year we were up at camp and hunting during the rut, and Nick pulls out his phone and said, oh, the moon guide says that you're going to want to hunt a field edge tonight. And I did hunt a field edge, and I saw a big mature buck. I didn't end up getting them, but
Do you want me to explain briefly about the moon guide, how it works, or how it supposedly works?
yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not sold on it yet. It is batting 1,000 for me, but I think it needs more than one.
Yeah, usually
Test
more
run.
than one is
Yeah.
better.
So the way the moon guide works is that the moon at different times of the day is closer to the Earth than other times of day, and that produces a gravitational pull. It's what it's science. It controls the waves. It controls a little bit of weather to an extent, but the big thing is like it adds a gravitational pull to Earth, and then like I said, it controls the waves. Now at the peak time, like it's different each day. There's 2 times throughout the day where the moon is closest to the Earth, and it's like a 12-hour difference. So basically what the moon guide says is that when that gravitational pull is greatest at normal times of deer movement, that's where you want to be. So if you've got, say, I guess I could, let's just pull it up and I will just give a few examples because I'll look ahead,
I've never even used it. I've never heard you guys talk about it before.
So we're going to jump
Pretty
right
new to the moon guide.
Yeah.
So, we'll do that later. So let's go up into October. So October, our season opens October 3rd this year. Oh wait, no, we're in 2020. I got to go up all the way to 2021.
Bear with us 1 minute. Having some technical difficulties.
All right, we'll just go October 2020 because we already been there. So basically, the red moon is when the gravitational pull is greatest. Now that's going to be different times throughout the day. So like peak activity is going to happen at those times because according to this theory, I'm not saying we totally believe it. I'm just saying according to this theory that when that gravitational pull is greatest, that's when your peak activity with deer is going to be because there's that pull for them to get up, apparently. It apparently has a gravitational effect on every nature in general. It's the same concept with barometric pressure, and people can literally, like, their knee hurts if they've had an injury years ago when pressure gets too high. Same idea. But anyway, so when that peak time coincides with, last light or first light, that's when you want to be paying attention to it. So it looks like October 10th was like a Saturday last year. Peak activity was at 7:32 a.m., shortly after daybreak. Now, that's when you want to know that, like, okay, I need to be sitting really close to like bedding or like a transitional zone because, that's about where they would be normally. Like I said, we don't 100% believe in it, but it was interesting last year at camp. We were up there for 9 days straight, so we were able to follow it pretty closely. And it did seem to play a big effect.
Make a little sense.
Yeah, and I'm probably not the best person to describe it, but like guys like Adam Hayes, who's killed several 200s, he follows it, or at least is paid to say that he follows it religiously. So if it's something, if you're kind of superstitious, I think it would probably be really effective. But I mean, bottom line is,
Or really ineffective. You know, there's some people that say, "Oh, my deer app's saying it's not going to be a good day to go hunting. Guess I better stay."
yeah, you better
home."
stay in. I'll hunt for you. Any day that you have an opportunity to hunt is a good day to hunt. In my
That's what
book.
I'm saying.
I also say that.
So take that for what it's worth. I don't know. Between me and Tom talking about the Moon Guide, maybe you got something out of it.
I doubt it.
Probably not.
Check
So
it
I
out, though.
Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap things up there. Like Frank mentioned, thank you to Jason Johnson for joining the Patreon and really stamping your approval in what we're doing and supporting us all the way. It really helps because it's not free to put it out. So
Yeah.
we appreciate all of the help we can get. Second, if you are not planning to attend the Palooza, you need to clear your schedule and get there. Frank, I think he said he's doing like 4 pork butts. We're going to do some like 4 turkeys. I mean, it's just going to be a ton of food, tons of cornhole.
I'm going to break out the grill. I'm going
Yeah.
to do some deer sausage.
I think we're doing 50-50 raffles and stuff. I mean, it's going to
Gonna
be
be good
wild.
time.
Fried walleye.
Yeah, blackened probably.
All
Either way,
kinds of side dishes.
Bush
yeah,
Light.
tons. Yeah, there will probably be a lot of Bush Light.
Oh yeah.
So come on out and have some fun. Hang with the crew. It's going to be a great time. So on that note, make sure you guys are all getting outside.